With this year being a complete dumpster fire of events, you likely haven't heard of The Owl House, Disney's hot new show about a girl who's thrown into a strange new world where she learns to be a witch. Since many great shows have come to an end in the last couple of years, we're currently in the middle of a transitional period for television animation, waiting for one show to rise above the rest and define the next generation's childhood. Could that show be The Owl House? The main star of The Owl House is Luce, spelled L-U-C, for reasons? After stumbling through a doorway that leads her to the horrifying yet magical land called the Boiling Isles, she meets a witch named Eda. Eventually, Luce convinces Eda to teach her magic. Then Luce makes a couple of friends and even gets enrolled in a magic school. And honestly, this place makes Hogwarts look like the safest place on Earth.
Oh, I'm so excited!
And now I feed!
In a typical episode of The Owl House, Luce complains that Eda hasn't taught her any magic, so she then tries to learn magic on her own, and then something bad happens. Or, Luce tries to help someone, and something bad happens. Despite how repetitive it might sound, I never got sick of this formula, partly because every episode gives us a closer look at the Boiling Isles. My favorite part about this show is seeing how everything is different on the Isles. My personal favorite example of this is Gus's wristwatch being a wrist-biting demon instead. They get a lot of jokes out of this in the first couple of episodes.
My eyes are down here.
All the different characters and creature designs really help the Boiling Isles feel alive and distinct. While the majority of the characters have a humanoid design, most have something that makes them feel otherworldly. Basha is a great example of this. This show also has some pretty dope animation in certain episodes. For example, some of the show's more serious and action-packed moments, the animators really get to flex their muscles. Honestly, the opening alone is what sold me on the show. It's just so crisp. It honestly feels like the show switches to an anime at some points. The Owl House is definitely the product of a post-Gravity Falls Disney. Both shows balanced this goofy, just-for-kids vibe with a more darker and more serious tone. Some of the jokes in the show are even reminiscent of Gravity Falls.
You won't get away with this, owl lady! Yeah, alright, you did. You got away with it. She got away with it, everybody! Typical.
Not to mention Alex Hirsch himself voices a few characters in the show, most notably King.
Try to catch me when I'm covered in grease. I'm a squirmy little fella.
Once Luce started learning magic, I was completely sold. This show defines magic in a way that makes you believe that you could do it too. It's kind of like how when you watch Star Wars for the first time, you tried using the Force, but then realized, you were an idiot and you can't. It's like that. And I'm not gonna lie. After Luce learned the light spell, I drew that light glyph several times, hoping that something would happen. Obviously it didn't, because I live in reality and not a magical cartoon world. But I just love that this show got that kind of reaction out of me. And luckily Luce is a better witch than me, because by the end of the season, she's a pretty capable witch, I'd say, mastering most of the major elements. I'm interested to see how she'll learn to use magic that doesn't come from nature, like something from the Abomination or Illusion Covens. Luce isn't the only character to grow in the show. I was pretty surprised to see that Willow became like the most powerful witch in school. I mean, it's not canon, but come on, she totally is. Amity's character development was also surprising, but in a different kind of way. See, I knew she'd eventually fall head over heels for Luce and drop the whole bullying thing thanks to all the Lumini videos I was recommended, but I didn't realize she'd lose all of her personality. Amity is a perfectionist, someone who must be the best and can't show weakness. A bully. Eventually she realizes she's being a bit too aggressive in her path to success, so she mellows out a bit. However, at a certain point in the show, all these traits just kind of get turned down, and the most interesting thing about her becomes like her relation to other characters. Currently, I feel like they're focusing on the wrong things about Amity. I just feel like she has a lot more to offer than being the butt of gay panic jokes.
What about you, Amity?
Me? On a team with you? Running around in cute uniforms? Sweating? I gotta go!
To be clear, Amity is my favorite character, other than Hootie. And Understanding Willow is one of my favorite episodes for several reasons. One reason is because, it's about Amity trying to fix the mistakes of her past. Plus, it breaks the established formula of Luce causing problems because, Amity causes the problem. And overall, it's just a fun episode. I also really like the complete 180 Amity's character makes. It's just, I just want to see her character expanded on, in all honesty. Which I'm sure is going to happen because I would imagine Amity will play a much bigger role in Season 2. I Would be surprised if she didn't. In general, I think season 2 can go a lot of interesting places. For sure, I think we'll see Basha become the new school bully. I think the season will have a more darker tone. I feel like the Owl House seasons in general will be like the Harry Potter movies, where it's all fun and games at a wacky, cool wizarding school until things suddenly and drastically get darker in like the third movie or season. I guarantee you they'll find a way to sneak in those beta designs because the fandom loves them like so much. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like an Evil Clone episode or something like that. In a time where superheroes and more technology-based stories rule the media, the fantasy-based Owl House feels like a breath of fresh air to me. I've been a magic geek all my life, so it only makes sense that, I'd love this show. The bowling house is a place I simultaneously do and don't want to visit. It might low-key be a hellish nightmare world, but I'd be able to do magic, so it's pretty enticing. This show has quickly become one of my all-time favorites, and I can't wait to see what they do in season 2. I have faith in the Owl House crew to, do great things. Overall, I think this show has tons of potential and can very easily be one of the next great cartoons that people talk about for years to come.